Before I go on, Jack, is there any questions coming in? Anything that want to talk about following up, following through? Anything that you out there in chat land?
Somebody is asking about how if there's a way that you could tie this in with COVID, for example, with everybody working remotely now, maybe translating that same ethos of following up with, Zoom or, other forms of communication. I know on one of your previous slides you had, telephone call and text and stuff, but is there anything you could think of that could apply more towards video conferencing?
No question about it. COVID-19 is here to stay in a sense of the word. As earlier what I said was COVID-19 just speeded things up in the world today, meaning that it was going that direction. It was going that direction to be able to work more remotely, not be in an office setting. It just sped up what was eventually going to happen. So yes, do you have to do things more virtually? No question about it. Do you think that I still don't get on Zoom calls timely? Do you think that I don't follow up quickly on my phone calls and on my calls at promptly? Do you think that I don't spend a lot of time around emails and text messages now? There's no question about it. That has risen to a higher level to utilize those form of communication to be able to communicate now moving forward. So what does that mean to you? That means is you better learn how to speak on the phone. I have phone techniques where you got to speak like you're going to talk like you're in person. Think about that person as a friend and he has a cup of coffee. And when you're on the phone, you should be moving your hands. If you move your hands in front of somebody, you should speak. So it's those kind of things. Have you developed your phone skills now? Because you're better, because obviously, you're not going to be able to face-to-face as much. Are you doing the things you need to do with your Zoom calls? Okay, because I like Zoom calls because a lot of times when I got less people, I can see eye to eye to someone. So you've got to learn how to speak, and how to create your conversations now by Zoom. I spend time now teaching people how to write emails better. It's all about email writing. How do you write emails now? Because like I said, you're not going to be in front of that person as much. How are you doing things in your text messages? This is a brilliant thing. Write this down and take it home with you and bundle it. Write thank you notes by hand, handwritten thank you notes. Start doing more of that. It's amazing what people will tell you that they keep thank you notes. Okay. So that's what's going on with, that's what I'm doing. I'm working more from home. So how can I be more effective in my Zoom call? How can I get right to the point? Because you have to understand something. These Zooms typically with customers or your phone calls or your text messages, they're going to be very brief and to the point. So start creating a spiel, a 3-minute, 2-minute spiel of what you want to say when you get on that call with a customer that may spend 10 minutes with you, may spend 15 minutes max with you. Whereas when you were in their office, they'd spend 45 minutes because they could see your face. They could understand you. They could get right there. So the face-to-face is still the best, but you got to understand that you got to work on those things that talk about how you, do it from home, as I say, or do it from anywhere in the country. So hopefully, Jack, that gives them a better perspective as we move on.
Yeah, I think that was a great answer, and everybody this seems to agree. Just a quick point, though, you mentioned handwritten notes.
Yes.
And somebody kind of had a question about that. Just more, maybe, can you elaborate a little bit more on how to use handwritten notes with the modern climate?
Oh my gosh. You're saying that if you send a handwritten note, someone's not going to open it up because of COVID? Or are you saying that in the environment that we're in? I think thank you notes, writing them to someone, like I just wrote another one. I was at someone's dinner, personal dinner with friends, and wrote a personal note the next day, thanking them for that dinner. Those kind of things like that. I don't know if there's a connection between do you touch the paper or not touch the paper or something like that. Thank you notes, meaning we need to do more of that in this country by hand. not a typed letter, not a typed comment. So I use thank you notes for everything from personal responses back to use them with employees, use them with colleagues. More people will tell you that they will open up a handwritten note and read it 10 times over a form letter or that kind of thing that you sign at the bottom of the letter. So does that answer the question, or they were looking more for the actual touching of the letters?
No, I think everybody liked that. Thank you.
I can't tell you, there's a businessman in Bloomington right now that I work with. I consult also with some companies, and they do that now as a religious thing, meaning thank you notes it takes time, but it doesn't have to be a long note. It could be 2 or 3 sentences. You know what? It was really great to see you. Thank you for your business. And what you do is after you say thank you for your business, hey, just a reminder, I know we just cleaned your carpets, but if you ever need your rugs cleaned, or wow, we have house cleaning solutions too, whatever. You can always incorporate one little thing inside that thank you letter, but it's always that, thank you for your service, or thank you for taking the time to talk to me, or can't believe we spent 5 minutes with you. And what I mean by thank you, I mean write it from the heart. Write it from the heart. And it doesn't have to be more than 2 or 3, sentences. So, all right, let's go into relationships. Probably the greatest thing that I've enjoyed in my 35 years is relationships. How do you build them? What are they? Do you have the skills for relationship building? Are you empathetic? Are you sympathetic? Or are you a humble person? We could talk a lot about that. How to lead through humility. And that could be if someone has that question, but how do you build? It's all about that. It is all about relationships, about touching people, not literally what I'm saying is you got to get in people's minds and you've got to be that and come across. And, I remember I was out there a lot. And the first thing I remember about Chip was, wow, he always had a smile on his face. Or always was, whenever you put other people first, think about them first before you think about yourself. Mark Cuban was great. I love the guy. The NBA is never just a business. It's always a business, but it's always personal. All good businesses are personal. The best businesses are very personal. So remember this, as you go along, when you're building that relationship, that professional relationship, at some point it has to turn into a personal relationship for it ever to last, to ever to be genuine, to ever be real, to ever get that trust. It doesn't become a trustworthy relationship and a long-lasting relationship until the business turns into a personal interaction. But it may take years. It may take 5 years, 3 years. It may take 2 weeks for you to be able to go from the business relationship to that personal. But when you do, you've hit a home run. You've hit the ball out of the park. You've hit the ball out of the park because it's become a personal relationship and that you care. Okay, you care about that person. The worst kind of person I've ever seen is that they want to sell something just to sell something. It's not about that. Did you solve their problem? Did you make sure they were taken care of? Did you do it the right way? Like I told you before, one of my Chipisms, don't lie. Do what's right. And do it right the first time. Do it right out of the gate. Don't think about yourself. Think about them. If you always put the customer first, if you always put other people first, and you be humble, and you do it with humility, you will win every single time. We've got to get more people to lead and to direct and to work together with much more humility and kindness and empathy. And that's why I think, going back, it's not what you say to people, it's how you say things to people. So I think relationships are very personal.